Planeswalkers. Tyler here.
And Andrew.
And today we are bringing you another episode of Taps for Two. Casual talks for casual players. Today's topic is Commander Playstyles. But how Andrew likes to play versus how I like to play. And obviously, down in the comments below, be sure to let us know your playstyles as well. We're going to try and keep things just kind of relaxed, chill, kind of conversation. So Andrew, you've played you're a lot newer to the game than I am.
Yes.
At time of recording, you played for what? Like, not even 2 years at this point.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
What was your first pre-release?
That would be the first of the Ravnica block last year.
Guilds of Ravnica.
Yes.
Guilds of Ravnica, and the most recent one we just went to was Theros Beyond Death. So someone smarter than us could figure out the time frame on that.
I think it's like a year and 2 months, or a year and 3 months.
Something like that. And meanwhile, on my end of the spectrum, I have played since 2011, 2012. I started back in high school. I think that was when Theros was first around.
Wow, I wasn't even in high school in 2012.
Shut up. But we're both here, and we both love Commander. I mean, you got started with Commander. That is how we got you into the game. And despite my best efforts to keep you from playing blue, you play blue.
You tried to get me into Selesnya colors.
Yeah, because I can deal with that.
Selesnya's more fair. And then I went, is it?
And then you promptly stayed, is it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, Niv is it? Oh, Locust God, hello.
Looking at the decks that you've built in this, we'll just say a year and a half. You have currently, 7 decks?
9.
9. What are your 9?
My 9, I have Niv Mizzet Reborn, Locust God, Golos Tireless Pilgrim, Kadena Slinking Sorcerer, Lena Selfless Champion, Volda Keeper of the Flame, Omnath Locust of the Royal, and Sir Gwyn. I forget her title.
Hero of Ashvale.
Thank you.
Ashenvale.
Thank you. Dark Souls.
Yeah. Sir Gwyn. So you like to go wide.
Oh yeah.
That is your style. You like Locust God. You're making all the bug tokens. You draw a bunch of cards. Valduk, you suit them up. Like, it's a Voltron deck, but the only reason you're playing Voltron is
to drop a bunch of elementals every turn. And I do stuff when they enter, and I sacrifice them for more value after they attack.
So you would say that your playstyle is go wide, get value.
Yes.
I am on the other end of that spectrum, and I'm, you've played against me enough times to know how I roll. I like.
Yeah.
My favorite mana cost is 6 and higher.
You're in a game we played just earlier tonight. You ran me over with giant krakens, and in a game before that, what was it? Was it
Butcher of the Horde?
Butcher of the Horde. Yeah.
I got him up to like 8/7 flying lifelink. That's my thing, and like
that was rude.
You know what? Yeah.
I just drop all my creatures, and then you're like, what? I have a huge, what was it? What was the power on that thing?
Yeah, he was an 8/7.
An 8/7? Like,
8/7 flyer.
I'm not gonna run into that. You're just gonna kill whatever I throw at you.
But, so we both love playing Commander, but we both, like, I think we can even, take, similar card and, play them regarding our own thing. Like, I don't know what, I didn't actually have a transition for that, by the way. I don't know where I was going with that. Looking at some of the stuff that I like to do, and then we'll go into yours. I like big flashy creatures, and I like alternate win cons.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
If there's a different way I can beat you, I want to go that way.
I can think of a few.
Some of my favorites that I actually run in decks are very decisive, or not decisive. Very it divides a lot of players up. I play Infect. I like to play Infect and Commander. I am that monster. I run it in Dimir, which I don't think people really do. Infect is mostly black-green.
I think so. I think if I was to run Infect, I would do mono black though, personally.
Oh yeah, you like Skither eggs.
Yeah, I want to build Skither eggs.
Skittles. But no, Infect, I love, because it kind of puts me, and I understand why people don't like it, because it puts you on a different axis. Because, I don't care what your life total is. I'm here to get you to 10 poison damage, which I know there's a lot of people that are arguing that the Infect kill should be higher in Commander.
Yeah, that would make sense, because you already have Commander damage as 21, but that's only your Commander. But you only need 10 counters with any creature that has Infect. That's a lot easier to get than 21 Commander damage.
Oh, it absolutely is. I think the argument is to try and make it so that the Infect threshold is half of whatever your starting life total is.
Okay, so like 20.
It would be 20 for Commander, but I love Infect. Approach of the Second Sun is a super fun one. 6 and a white sorcery. When you cast it the first time, you gain 7 life, and then you put it back into your library 7th from the top. If you cast it the second time, then you win. And I really like that one, because if it gets countered that first time, I believe it still shuffles itself back into the deck.
Yes.
Or not shuffles, it puts
7th from the top.
7th from the top. So, but if they counter that second one, then you lose. Or you don't lose, but you don't get the don't get the win.
You don't get the win because it's on cast, and if it's countered, it was still cast. So then it just goes back into your deck, and you can play it again later. But
that's right. But it's got to resolve that second time.
Right. Bottom line is you can cast it and have it not resolve the first time, but you have to cast it from your hand and have it resolve the second time.
I guess that's the other big one, is it? Because I know when we first brought up that card to you in your infinite wisdom and your love of value were I distinctly remember this. You were instantly like, what can I use to try and copy this when I cast it? Because you, in your mind, it was, if I make a copy of it, then the second time, or then the copy will go off, and then the second one will count as the second time. But because of the wording, it's got to be cast from your hand, and the copy isn't cast from your hand.
Yeah,
and
that's why I run it in I run it in my Golos deck.
Did you? Because I saw it in your trade binder.
I might have taken it out, but I believe you can cast it off of Golos' ability, because you exile it, you cast it from exile, and that counts as the first cast. The second cast does have to be from your hand.
That's right, yeah. You can't use Golos to get it that second. Although your Golos deck doesn't even care about that as a win con.
Yeah. It also works with, I think, Narset's Reversal. You cast it, and then you cast Narset's Reversal, copying it and returning the original to your hand. And then the copy gets cast, and then you recast it from your hand.
And I think that, with the way that one works, is because you still cast the original one, but it's coming back to your hand. It doesn't care. Technically, I want to say it's that copy that is, quote-unquote, getting put back into the deck. Right. But obviously tokens or copies can't exist there. So I think you're right. I think Narset's Reversal might be like the only way around that. But other ones that I really like, I'm a huge fan of Riverland Riches. I think I have 2 or 3 of my 14 commander decks that run it.
Oh yeah.
So 4 and a black enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a treasure token. Tap, sack, add 1 mana of any color. On your upkeep, if you have 10 or more treasures, you win. I'm a black player. I love making people sacrifice their stuff. I love sacrificing my own stuff. That's just how I roll. I remember we were playing one game one time where I got a bunch of gold tokens and I got super, super excited. Then I realized that gold and treasure are 2 separate things.
They are.
But
that's weird. Do they do the same thing?
They technically no. Gold doesn't have to be tapped. Treasure is tap and sacrifice. Gold is just sacrifice.
I see. But other than that,
they are the same thing.
Okay.
Simic Ascendancy is another really fun one that I like. It's green and a blue enchantment, easy target, but it's a little easier to protect. And then for 1 green blue, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature you control, you put that many growth counters on the Ascendancy, and on your upkeep, if there's 20 or more growth counters, you win. I run this in Roalask. because Rolas, that's all the deck cares about is +1/+1 counters. You've seen how out of hand that deck gets.
That is a proliferate deck, and I do not appreciate how tall it goes.
That's just it. I don't even think I run too many cards in it that proliferate. It's just things that place counters.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was like counters and proliferate.
I mean, Rolas proliferates twice.
Yeah, that might have been what I was thinking, because that's still a good effect. Just make all your creatures 2 bigger.
Yeah, and then, that's on death. Which is a little bit tricky with Rolas, because if he dies and you go to put him in the command zone, that doesn't count as dying. So, I have to let him go to the grave. Otherwise, I don't get double proliferate. So I run a bunch of cards that pull him out of the graveyard. But, and then the last one that I have on here, and this one, I've seen the most people get angry at me for. Felidar Sovereign. 4 white for a 4/6. I want to say it's a cat beast. It's got Vigilance, Lifelink, and on your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win. Hey, Andrew, how much life do you start with in Commander?
I'm not going to answer that, just to be snarky.
Fair. So
But that is an easy condition to meet in Commander.
it puts a target on you, but like that's fine because
It puts a target on Felidar Sovereign.
yeah, which is fine because I usually will have my big stompy creatures to back it up. Like I've talked about it before, but my mono blue deep sea deck, the one that's at the moment I believe it's still led by Nezahal, but Nezahal is going to be demoted and replaced by Thassa. Because, I mean, flavor-wise, who better to lead a bunch of...
I mean, it could be Thassa or a giant dinosaur, so really they're both answers to the same question.
You know what? Fair point. But, like, I think the average CMC of creatures in that deck is 6 or 7.
Some expensive creatures there.
Deep Sea Kraken, 7 blue, 6/6, can't be blocked. He's got Suspend 9 for, I think it's like 2 and a blue. But whenever an opponent casts I think it's just whenever an opponent casts a spell, you remove a time counter from it. And he starts with 9 of them. And then he just comes in, and now, hey, here's the 6/6 Kraken that can't be blocked. Kraken of the Straits, 5 blue for a 6/6. Creatures with power less than your island count can't block him. So that's just a 6/6 that's coming through. Shipbreaker Kraken, 4 blue. Tromo Greatest, 5 blue. Breaching Leviathan, 7 blue. Inkwell Leviathan, 7 blue. Nezahal, 5 blue. Like, I love going big with... I throw the haymakers.
You just... While I will, like, spend all my mana in a turn building a bunch of small creatures, you'll drop all of your mana on one creature.
Which makes it really devastating, because between the two of us, who really likes to run counter magic?
I do.
Yeah.
You are the epitome of spend it all in one place.
Yeah, I am. Because I've also got that Rakdos Eldrazi deck, which you've seen what that can do out of the blue.
Oh, God.
Big Demons, Big Eldrazi. Like, I run all 3 Rakdos. Like, the Showstopper, Lord of Riots is my commander, and the Defiler, just because he's hilarious. I don't think I've ever actually used him against you. Do you know what Rakdos the Defiler does?
No, does he defile people?
He defiles everyone, including me. So he's the original version of Rakdos.
Right.
2 black, red, 7/6, flying trample. When he attacks, I have to sacrifice half of my non-demon permanents.
Oh.
Do you notice the lack of the word non-land?
Oh, so you just destroy most of your lands.
More or less. But when he connects with a player, that player does the same.
Oh. So if he stays on the field, you can do that multiple times.
Yeah, just start... He's like a big flying wood chipper.
He just threatens your opponent's entire boards. Just half.
Well, because he's got trample, and all he does, one point has to get.
Trample.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
All 3 versions of him have flying and trample, which like
It's classic demon.
the 6 mana flying trample demon is my favorite, which I think the Lord of Riots is the only one that technically breaks that rule, because he's 4 mana for the 6/6 flying demon, but he does have a restriction on when he can be cast.
Right. Doesn't an opponent have to take a damage that turn?
They have to have lost life.
That's even easier to get.
And then all my creature spells cost 1 less to cast for each 1 life my opponent has lost. So that deck, I run a bunch of stuff that like pings everyone at the same time. Because on my turn, if everyone takes 1 damage while Lord of Riots is out, my stuff is now 3 cheaper.
So good.
Kozilek the Great Distortion, you know.
Oh, he gets cheaper. That's right.
Yeah, well, he does. So Kozilek is 8 generic and 3. I can't remember which one. I thought I had it written down. The thing with Kozilek is it's 8 colorless. I wrote it down wrong. So he's 8 colorless. So unlike a lot of the other big Eldrazi, Rakdos won't make the 2 colorless pips go away.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
At best, Kozilek becomes, just a 12/12 menace for 2.
That's fair.
Who draws me back up to 7, and who can counter stuff if I discard cards.
It's such an aggressive deck overall. It's so good.
But like Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger, or Nulamog, as a lot of people call him.
Mog.
He doesn't have any colorless pips. He's just a 10/10 for 10. Not Kozilek. Rakdos can make him free, and that's what I love to do. Just
Oh, I know. This is one of the decks this is the deck to beat for me.
is it? Is this the one of
I
my
don't-
like 14?
I don't know if I've ever beaten your Rakdos deck. Or if I have, it hasn't been very often.
You have once because of my hubris.
Oh yeah, you gave me a turn.
I gave you a turn I didn't need to. So in this Rakdos deck that I run
Harmless
Offering and Demonic Pact. Which Demonic Pact is the enchantment that I'm not going to go into its details because I wasn't planning on bringing it up. But it's got the 4 effects where you have to pick 1 each turn, and you can't pick the same one twice.
One of them is you lose the game.
Yeah, 3 of them are good, and then the last one is you lose the game. And so the idea is you play Harmless Offering, which is like 2 in a red for a sorcery, to give one of your permanents to another player, and you give them Demonic Pact after you've used the 3 good options. And because it's not a new item, it hasn't left the battlefield and come back, the only option they have is to pick lose the game.
Yeah, this is a good example of how our playstyles go against each other. Because in his Rakdos deck, he has big demons. He Harmless Offerings that to me, I think the first turn he played it. So,
Yeah,
or the second turn.
It was you had 1 turn with it where you got to actually do something. No, you had 3 turns with it. You had 2 turns where you could use positive effects, and on that second turn that you had it, all 3 good effects had then been used. And so my thing was, I could have killed you the turn prior.
Yeah, because you had all those demons. With flying, you could have just killed me with damage.
But I wanted the pack to do it. So I gave you 1 turn.
It was down. Yeah, it was
and
down
I
to
passed
1 turn.
it to you.
Either I was going to pass the turn back and he was going to kill me with demons, or he was going to just pass the turn back to me and let me die to the pack.
I wasn't going to attack you with demons.
Yeah, that's more likely. And I ended up building. I was using Omnath Locust the Royal, and I just built in 1 turn an enormous board of elementals and plants from Avenger of Zendikar.
And gave them all. How did you give them all haste?
It was Temur Ascendancy.
That's right. Drop Temur Ascendancy and you threatened me for like 50 damage.
Because I ended up copying Risen Reef twice. So every time I dropped a new elemental, I just got to look at the top 3 cards, and if they were lands, they went onto the battlefield, triggered all my landfalls, otherwise they went into my hand. And it was just a value engine that spat out this enormous board.
I was 100% certain you were not going to come back from that. And then you did, by going wide.
Yeah, that's why I love that strategy, but it was still your hubris. I do not take full credit for that victory.
No, I mean, you definitely get some credit for it, because just the fact that you were able to pull that out and not just kind of, roll over with your belly up. I think I just combined 2 phrases there.
Yeah.
But just the fact that you just kept going and you were actually able to pull out enough damage to do it really shows, like, head-to-head, in the short game, I will beat you.
Yes, absolutely. But if you give me enough time to get a value engine going, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, you will flood my big guys with your little ones, and then I can do as much damage as I want. You're going to kill me quicker.
Yeah.
Because as it turns out, how many? 15 or 16 01 plants that you turned into like 2/3s?
Yeah, I dropped 2 lands from Risen Reef, and then suddenly I have all those 2/3s that you can only block like 3 or 4 of them.
I was like, that's great. I'm still taking almost twice lethal even if I block.
Yep. It's fun.
But like, so for your strategies, like let's focus on Locust God first, because Locust God was like the first real deck that you built. It was initially Niv Mizzet, wasn't it?
I think it was Niv Mizzet,
Fire
Draco Genius.
No, it was Firemind.
It was Firemind.
It was Firemind.
It was Firemind. And then I was introduced to Locust God, and I just loved the idea of putting in a whole bunch of draw effects to not only get value out of the cards that you're drawing, but also make an army of little Locusty boys. And that's the strategy of the deck. Just draw cards, make locusts.
Just, like, for as new as you are to this game, watching you pilot that deck is impressive.
Thank you.
I'm,
means
like,
a lot
not
to me.
gonna lie. There was that one game that we played that, where it was you and a guy just going back and forth. I think you were trying to do something to me, and this one guy was like, no. And you guys just kept going back and forth, and like you kept trying to trigger Niv, and he kept turning Niv into a frog.
Yeah, yeah. That was I started a feud, and I don't think I won that feud.
No, I think you ended up conceding.
Yeah,
But
that happened.
But no, like I said, watching you pilot this deck and just the stuff that we've talked about, like some of the it looks like you've got a list here. Some of the stuff that you run in this deck is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I run Impact Tremors and Perforos. I finally saved up enough money to buy myself a Perforos God of the Forge. And together, every time I draw a card with Locust God out and those 2 cards, I'm dealing 3 damage to every opponent. Because I make a Locust and trigger both of those cards, and just hit every opponent for 3.
Didn't we, at some point for like Magical Christmas Land, we came up with a way that you could deal like 8 to 10 damage by drawing a single card?
I have that in the notes here. So you have Locust God, you spark double Locust God, so you have a second one.
That is non-legendary.
Right, you have Impact Tremors.
Spark double is...
It's ridiculous.
Spark double is so stupid.
You should put that in every blue commander deck, by the way. So you have Locust God, a copy of Locust God, Impact Tremors, Perforos, Torbrand, Consecrated Sphinx, and then you just pass the turn. That's all you have to do. Your opponent draws for turn, you draw 2, trigger both Locust Gods and make 4 Locusts, trigger both Impact Tremors and Perforos for all 4 of them, which would be 12, except Torbrand increases each of those triggers by 2. So you end up with, what is that? You end up with 28 damage to each opponent.
Just from them.
From your
drawing a card.
From my opponent drawing a card. Now, no opponent with any kind of a deck that's like matched, that's the same power level as Locust God, no competent opponent is going to let that happen.
You say competent, because I was just about to say I could see that happening to me, and I feel like I was just about to play myself.
Don't put yourself down. You taught me this game. You are good at this game.
But yeah, no, just this. That's not even counting. Like, have you considered putting in Dictate of the Twin Gods?
You told me about that. I want to, because what is that? It doubles the damage.
It doubles all damages from all, like, I think all sources.
Is it all sources or all red sources?
All sources. Torbrand is all red sources that you control, but Dictate is all sources are doing double damage.
If you took that same Christmas Land scenario and added in Dictate of the Twin Gods,
I don't think
it would deal 40 damage, because your opponents get to stack whether it's the Torbrand trigger or the Dictate trigger, which one happens first. So they will double it and then add 2 instead of adding 2 and then doubling it. So you're going to only get 40 damage. Only 40 damage.
Only 40 damage from it. Need I remind you, from an opponent drawing a card.
It's 40 damage instead of 56 damage. But still, that's just...
To everybody, except for you.
And if anyone's left alive at that point, as soon as the turn gets passed, you just win the game anyways, because you're doing it again the next time an opponent draws a card, or next time you draw a card. It's just nuts.
But that's not the only, like, value engines that you've put into... Like, you are intent on wringing as much value out of these little 1/1 flying haste tokens.
Oh yeah, for now I only have Skull Clamp in there, so I don't have this full combo, but I intend on completing it soon. So Skull Clamp, it's a classic artifact. It costs 1 mana.
The prime example of a card that. Do you know the story behind Skull Clamp?
Yeah, wasn't it supposed to cost more?
It was either that. It went through a small handful of changes.
They wanted it to have a drawback, which is why it has the -1 toughness. But they didn't.
It originally, I want to say, was +1/+0.
Yeah,
and then yes, I believe it cost more. Then they ended up.
They made it better by trying to make it worse.
Yeah, they made it almost broken by trying to make it worse.
So Skull Clamp is a 1 mana for an artifact equipment. Pay 1 to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/-1, and when that creature dies, you draw 2 cards. You can see where this is going. You make a 1/1 with a Locust God. You pay 1 to equip it. It dies. You draw 2 cards. You make 2 Locusts, and you can keep going for as long as you have mana.
But where are you gonna get all this extra colorless mana from? Eventually, you're gonna run out.
I'm glad you asked, my friend. As a matter of fact, there's a handy-dandy artifact called Ashnod's Altar. you can.
Gee willikers! What's Ashnod's Altar do?
Ashnod's Altar is 3 mana for an artifact that you can sacrifice a creature to generate 2 colorless mana.
To degenerate? Yep.
Yep.
So you have Ashnod's Altar, and you have 1 Locust, and you have Skull Clamp.
And you have Locust God out.
And you have Locust God
assumably.
Out. So you're just, to start this off, you pay 1 of your own mana to put the Skull Clamp onto a Locust. The Locust dies.
Yes.
You draw 2 cards.
Yes.
Locust God makes 2 Locusts.
Yes.
You sacrifice 1 of them to the altar.
And you generate 2 colorless mana.
And you use 1 of those to attach the Skull Clamp to the second Locust.
Yes. So this generates virtually infinite colorless mana, because
it's not it's limited by how many cards you can draw.
Yes. But what's nice is you can run Clear the Mind. So you can stop this combo once you run out of cards, play Clear the Mind, and put your graveyard back into your... Well, first you need to put your hand back into your graveyard, and then you can Clear the Mind and put it all back in your library and do it again. But you can do with Wheel of Fortune. You just Wheel of Fortune your hand away, and then just draw 7 cards, and then you play Clear the Mind, put your grave back into your deck, and then resume the chain of Locust deaths. And this does only generate colorless mana on its own, but if you throw in just Impact Tremors, none of the other cards, just Impact Tremors.
Which Impact Tremors is an enchantment that whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, is it every opponent takes 1?
Every opponent loses 1 life. It's either that or the enchantment deals 1 damage to them, but either way, same result.
Because it's red, it's probably
yeah. But even with just that, if you have just 40 cards left in your deck, you don't have to go further than what's in your deck, because you're going to draw those 40 cards, make those 40 Locusts. I mean, most of them are going to be dead by the end of it, but you're still hitting everyone for 40 damage, and they just die. You really only need to do the Wheel of Fortune, Clear the Mind, if your opponent is like a life gain deck, and they have like 100 life, and then you're like, oh, well, I need to find a way. Oh, look! Wheel of Fortune!
Well, at that point, you just make a bunch of Locusts and you hit them with it, and you kind of default to your go wide strategy.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you only have enough cards in your deck to kill the other opponents, then you don't have enough cards to draw to build that army. So you need a backup plan. But Wheel of Fortune's expensive, so I don't run it. It's a costly card.
There's a handful of cheaper options. Magus of the Wheel.
Okay. I was because when I was originally thinking about this, I was thinking, oh, Windfall, but no, Windfall would just kill me.
Because that's everyone discards their hand and then
draws cards equal to the number of cards in their hand.
I should run that now tomorrow. Windfall's blue.
It's equal to the the highest number of cards discarded. But if I have I would never have the most cards in deck out of any of the players in this deck. But if I did, I could draw half my deck, then Windfall and force my opponents to draw like 40 cards, and maybe kill them that way. That's another thing I could do with Clear the Mind. I dig through my deck, clear the mind, put it all back, and then Windfall. I don't know how I would pull that off. I need to go to the workshop with that. I want to pull something off with that.
You've spent a lot of time polishing Locust God.
Yes.
Valduk is another one that I'm super interested in that you run. I think I had initially built it.
Yeah.
Valduk was originally mine.
Yeah,
I traded it to you for something.
You traded it to me for a few rare cards. You were like, "Oh, this is an inexpensive deck," and then I built onto it.
Yeah, and now I wish I hadn't.
It's so fun. It's so fun to just find new equipment to put in there.
So, real quick, what is Valduk?
Valduk is 2 and a red for a human shaman, and at the start of combat on your turn, for each aura and equipment attached to Valduk, make a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste that you exile at your next end step.
3/1 with trample and haste is a really funny combination of things.
It's really good. If you have any kind of anthem, Vanquisher's Banner, or what is it? Icon of Ancestry. There's
Name elementals.
Yeah, there was one back in Eldraine that was like +1/+0, which you don't need toughness.
Oh, the
Heraldic Banner.
Heraldic Banner.
Heraldic Banner. You just run a bunch of anthems to pump them big. First off, you run a lot of good equipment, mostly equipment that you want that protects Valduk to keep him from being removed.
Yeah, you eventually just kind of get Valduk to the point where it's just this dude drowning in armor and effects, and you never swing with him.
No, you never risk him, but you just build him big, only to make a whole bunch of elementals. You play anthems to make the elementals big, swing with them, and then whatever survived or whatever was blocked, you sacrifice to something like Ashnod's Altar or Altar of Dementia, which is fun when you have like 2 anthems. Sacrifice 1 elemental, Altar of Dementia, and it causes an opponent to mill 5. Yeah, this is my mono red mill deck.
Yeah, mono red, famous for its milling. That being said, there was that one game where we found out what completely shuts Valduk down. And
oh yeah,
Thalia, Heretic Cathar, where all your creatures enter the battlefield tapped. So you can make as many elementals as you want. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, that incentivizes me to find some kind of removal to put into Valduk, because otherwise you just sit there with a bunch of equipment attached to Valduk, and you ain't doing anything. Because your elementals enter tapped. They don't get to attack, and then they just die.
Yeah.
You can still sacrifice them. That's what I'll do. I'll play Altar of Dementia and just mill you out. That's the strat. Yeah,
mono red's gonna mill out the white player. Why?
Because I can, and you play Thalia, so
Valduk kind of focuses. Well, I guess both Locust God and Valduk have kind of played off of this go wide and squeeze as much value out of these tokens as you can. Yes. You're over here building a small army. I'm like, look at my big demon. Look at him fly.
There he goes.
Whee! You've got a mono white deck that I initially didn't really think was gonna go anywhere.
You slept on Lena.
Yeah, and then you beat me with it, and I was like, "What?"
Like the first game after I upgraded the Lena deck, was that one that you also gave me?
No, I gave you the idea to build it though.
Okay, that's what it was. Oh yeah, because I distinctly remember going through my bulk and being like, "Oh, these are cheap white creatures," and now it's better. Now that it's upgraded, it's good.
Annoying.
Drop a bunch of creatures, play Lena.
Real quick, Lena, is it Selfless Champion?
Yeah, she's a... Go ahead, You can actually
Lena,
say.
Selfless Champion, 4 white for a human knight. 4 white for a human knight. What is she, a 3/3?
I think so.
3/3. Yeah, she's like a 6 mana 3/3. But when she enters, you get to make a 1/1 white soldier for each non-token creature you control, and then you can sacrifice her to give all your. Is it all your creatures indestructible?
All my creatures.
Or is it all creatures with power less than her?
That might be it.
Yeah, it's all it's all creatures with power less than her get indestructible until end of turn.
So all her tokens, pretty much, that she made. I like to play blink effects. I like to play anthems, of course. So I blink Lena. I sacrifice her to her own effect, which is nice in Commander, and then I get to just replay her because I'm in one color. If I run something like Nyx Lotus, it's really easy to recast her.
But God, what was it? I was just about to say. Yeah, she builds an army like out of nowhere.
It's pretty fun.
And then you combine her with, that's what I was gonna bring up. The anthems they're making the tokens bigger, but they're making her bigger too.
Yeah, so that she can give everything indestructible.
No, that deck, like that. I think that one focuses a lot more purely on the go wide, more than it kind of really does on the value.
Yeah.
Because I think your biggest value engine, or I don't even know if I'd call it an engine, is just literally Lena killing herself. So yeah, it kind of focuses a lot more on your go wide than it does like the value, but you still like get value from Lena.
Yes. There's some cards like Impassionate something. It's a creature that gains you 1 life for every...
Impassioned Orator, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the 2/2 for 1 and white.
Yeah, and it gains you 1 life whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. So you just drop Lena, make like 12 tokens, gain 12 life. It's fun.
But like, on the whole, like at least to me, like they don't look scary, because like in my mind I'm like, okay, you made a bunch of 1/1s. Here's my 8/8 Kraken. Like in theory, if you're taking down my Kraken, I'm taking 8 of your things with me. But that never ends up really being the case.
No, I don't really like losing a bunch of my creatures just to kill one thing. I'll usually just chump block, and then the next turn, because my opponent attacks, I'm just gonna chump block, and then all their stuff's tapped, and then I just get to throw my army on them. Just deal a bunch of damage.
That's why I really like black is my favorite color. Like I think that's been kind of established at this point. I love playing black. Demons and zombies are like 2 of my favorite tribes. And demons, like my favorite creature is, as much as I say like my favorite creature is the 1/1 Death Touch for a single black, which it's up there. My favorite creature is the 6/6 demon for like 4 black. Like just any demon that falls into that category of
with
the 6/6
flying and trample.
Flying and trample. If I'm paying 6 mana for a demon and it doesn't have a ton of abilities, I expect flying and trample and at least a 6/6 body.
Yeah. It's good. It is good.
But that's just how I play. I love Battlecruiser Magic, where it's just us sitting there doing what our decks want to do. In my case, it's usually losing.
We beat each other exactly half the time.
But I'm gonna lose in a blaze of passion, because that's just like, even looking at like, because blue, I think it's safe to say blue is your favorite color.
Yeah, I would say so.
And just like looking at the way you play blue, like with your locusts, and you're playing, the 1, 2, 3 mana spells, and then I'm over here with Krakens and Octopuses and Leviathans and stuff that costs like 7, 8, 9 mana, stuff that most blue mages would look at and be like, why? And
why is this in blue and not green?
Yeah, when I play blue, I like to play green.
Blue is the new green.
Yeah, that's why, like, my Simic deck, like the one that's led by Rolesk, that is, like, kind of my answer to Locust God. it goes relatively wide, but then goes tall.
Yeah, it's
Roll-esque dumping counters on everyone. It looks like you had one more deck. I think we got a couple minutes left before we should probably cut this off. But the deck we were talking about earlier, your Omnath deck, the one that went up against demons and managed to pull a win out of nowhere.
Yeah, so my two favorite decks that I own are Locust God and Golos. But since I built Omnath, he has climbed up there. He's probably my third favorite deck now that I own in paper. He's just so fun.
I remember he used to be kind of iffy on because you opened him in a pack, and you were just like, oh, this would be kind of cool to build. Yeah. And now here we are.
Yeah, and then I was like, hold on, I can build this for less than $100 and just have the deck.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
It's not. It's just Elemental Tribal, which is really good.
Elemental Tribal and Tamer.
Because I'd say that my favorite colors ranked would be something like blue, red, green, black, white. And so this is my top 3 favorite colors. You have your ramp, you have your burn and lots of small creatures, and you have your counter magic and your clone spells and your draw spells, and it's just all the value that I love.
You like Tamer for the same way I'm a big fan. My favorite 3-color combo is Jund. Black, red, green.
Oh yeah, you
give me all the aggressive colors.
You and your Corvold deck. It's so good. That's a really good deck. But I love Omnath because almost every game I've played with him, it has been it plays like a normal deck until late game when I'm nearly dead, and then I just suddenly get a value engine and just build a massive board out of nowhere and overrun my opponents with it.
Tillinali's Summoner is the one that,
that's one of my favorites.
It took me by surprise, because, I love Ixalan Block, because I love dinosaurs, in real life. I almost went to school to be a paleontologist.
Yeah.
So, I love, when I found out about Ixalan Block, I was super excited. Tillinali's Summoner, I completely looked over the kind of slight elemental theme that some of the humans had. I was like, humans are with dinosaurs, that's all I care about. And Tillinali's Summoner, 1 in a red for Human Shaman. It's got Ascend, so if you have 10 or more permanents at any point, you get the City's Blessing.
Yes.
And that's just a thing you have. You cannot lose it, no matter if the Summoner dies or leaves. If you've gotten the Blessing, you have the Blessing.
Yes.
When she attacks, you may pay X and R, so X and a red, to create X 1/1 red elementals that are attacking, but you have to sacrifice them at the end step unless you have ascended.
And in Omnath, you want to play into landfall, so you're looking for all the land searching effects that you can get.
So you're going to have a ton of mana to pump into this.
You're going to have a ton of mana and a ton of permanents to get ascend.
And even if you... I think the first time that I played against the deck and you dropped the Summoner against me, she was the only creature you had.
Yeah.
But you put enough mana... Because Ascend counts your lands, too. You were able to use your lands, and then make enough tokens
to pose a threat.
The tokens stayed. And then you just did it again.
And that's why I run a Panharmonicon in this deck. Because it doubles all of your landfall triggers, it doubles all of your Risen Reef triggers, all your Omnath triggers. And you just get to do it again. Do it again.
She's ridiculous.
It's such a fun deck. Oh, I love it.
But I think that'll kind of wrap it up with us. Kind of in summary, there's a bunch of different ways to play Commander. It's one of the best things about this format. And I think the fact that we can have fun playing against each other and with other people, but especially if we play against each other, which is the vastly different deck building styles and play styles that we have fun with. I think that's super cool and speaks a lot for this format.
This format is so varied and so customizable. Your personality is going to come through in your deck.
Yeah, that's why I do bad cards, because I'm a garbage person.
you like to make them work. Your Deep Sea deck was at one point your joke deck, and now it has.
Yeah, I called it cracking open a cold one.
And now it has beaten me a few times.
You were legitimately angry when we played earlier.
I was.
You got so mad.
I was playing Kadena, and you wouldn't let her stick.
Yeah, no, I killed. That was against the Boros deck.
Was
That
that
was against Angels.
Oh, that was against Angels.
But it was. I played against Cirque Wind.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, that's how we're gonna wrap that up here for now. You know, let us know down in the comments what what your favorite.
What your favorite playstyles are.
Thank you.
There we go.
What your favorite play styles are. You know, what are some cards that you like? How do they help? You know, I'd be willing to look into more cards that, like, I'm sure there's big flashy creatures out there that I haven't heard of that are probably garbage. Please, give me your garbage. Anyway, this has been Partners With. I've been Tyler.
I've been Andrew.
You know, thanks for listening. Leave a comment, leave us a like, share the video, hit that little bell, and we will see you next time. Later.
Bye-bye.